Hello, YouTube, and welcome to the weekly touchdown once again. Well, we're not weekly. We're kind of doing this thing daily right now, but it's time for the draft, so who cares? It's my channel. I can do it however I want to. And if you did not realize, I am Jess, and we're going to be talking about something that is near and dear to my heart, the Cleveland Browns. If you saw, that was one of the first broadcasts I did talking about the Browns. Today I'm going to talk about something really in particular. Drafting of a quarterback for the Cleveland Browns. I got my Ohio State thing on. I got my Browns flag. Here's my Browns cup. Yep, Browns fan. Been a Browns fan for 40 years plus. I remember watching Brian Sipe play. I remember watching Bernie Kosar play, Webster Slaughter, and Brian Brennan, and Hanford Dixon. I remember when the dog pound became popular, throwing dog biscuits out onto the field after the Browns would have a great play. That players jumping up into the stands. I remember Cleveland Municipal Stadium. And I remember when they moved to Baltimore. And then I remembered when the Browns came back. And I remember when they drafted Couch out of Kentucky. I can't remember his name, but he was supposed to be the savior of Cleveland. He lasted, 2 years? Every year the Browns draft a quarterback that's going to be the savior of Cleveland. And you know what? The Browns have been around for 18 years. They're still looking for a savior. Which brings me to my topic, Mitch Trubisky. Is Mitch Trubisky the savior for the Cleveland Browns? Is he going to be the one to bring us out of the doldrums? Is he going to be the one that we're cheering every day? I hope not. Nothing against Mitch Trubisky. I think he's a nice young man. Everything I've read about him, everything I saw, he's a really nice guy. But is he going to be the guy that if we sell our soul, if we give all of our draft picks up, or half of our draft picks to move from number 12 up to number 2 or number 3 to take Mitch Trubisky, is he going to be the answer to our prayers in Cleveland? In my opinion, no. The Cleveland Browns have a lot of problems. Quarterback is not one of their strong places. But you know what? Neither is their offensive line. Neither is their wide receivers. Neither are their tight ends. They got one good tight end, but they need more. Neither are their defensive line. Neither is the defensive backs. We've got pieces there, but we don't have the whole puzzle put together. The only thing we're not missing is saying, if we put a quarterback in there, that's going to solve all of our problems. Anybody that thinks that has never watched Cleveland play. Go back, watch footage from last year. Tell me how sticking one quarterback in there is going to fix that problem. They've done a great job accumulating draft picks and doing it smart. Why are they going to throw it away now? Carson Wentz, I could have seen that. You weren't going to have to give anything up to get him. But we sold the opportunity to do that, to accumulate more draft picks, to build this team up. What is Mitch Trubisky going to give us that we don't already have? Well, it's really hard to evaluate that because Cody Kessler, Brock Osweiler have played in the NFL. Mitch Trubisky hasn't. So we've got to kind of find something we can compare them to. And I know that Hugh Jackson is saying that Brock Osweiler is going to be in the mix. He's going to be looking at it. But we know that Cody Kessler played in Cleveland with this crappy offensive line they had last year, with the weak wide receivers they had last year, with the defense that the defensive backfield was like a swinging gate. So let's compare the last year that Cody Kessler played for University of Southern California, USC, and Mitch Trubisky's one year of starts at University of North Carolina. And before we do that, let's throw one thing into this. Cody Kessler started his freshman, sophomore, not his freshman year, but his sophomore, junior, and senior years. 3 years, 41 games. 14 his sophomore year, 13 his junior year, and 14 his senior year. He was a starting quarterback for 3 years. Mitch Trubisky was a starting quarterback for 1 year with 13 games. But we can't really be fair with doing that analysis, of saying we're going to look at 3 years of work as opposed to 1 year work. So I'm going to take the last year that Mitch Trubisky was quarterback at UNC this past year, and the last year that Cody Kessler was quarterback of USC, and let's do some comparisons there. Mitch Trubisky plays in the Atlantic Conference, the AAC, or ACC, Cody Kessler plays in the Pac-10. So let's take a look at those. Mitch Trubisky, his 1 year, his 13 starts, threw for 304 completions out of 447 attempts a completion percentage of 68%. He threw for 3,748 yards, had a touchdown to interception ratio of 30 touchdowns to 6 interceptions, and a passer rating of 157.9. Pretty good. But let's take a look at Cody Kessler, the guy that he is supposed to replace if we do all this to draft him into Cleveland. Cody Kessler, his senior year at USC, played 14 games, 1 game longer, 298 completions out of 446 attempts, for a passer rating of 66 or completion rating of 66.8%. He threw for 3,536 yards, 29 touchdowns and 7 interceptions with a passer rating of 151.7. So what does Cleveland gain just looking at that last year of USC, UNC? What does Cleveland gain by trading up and taking Mitch Trubisky as opposed to, say, a tight end or a cornerback or another wide receiver, or a linebacker, or any of the other myriad of needs that Cleveland has? What do they actually gain? Well, Cody Kessler, we'll just start from one side and look at the other. Cody Kessler had a completion rating of 66.8%. Mitch Trubisky has 68%. Yards passage, Trubisky, 3,748. Cody Kessler, 3,536. Touchdowns to interceptions. Kessler, 29.7. Trubisky, 30.6. Passer rating for Cody Kessler, 151.7 to a 157.9 for Mitch Trubisky. Please, someone explain to me where Trubisky is going to be any kind of upgrade over Cody Kessler. Watch the film on both of them. Kessler played behind a sieve of a front line, offensive line in Cleveland last year. But watch the game film on him. He makes smart decisions. He throws the ball away when he's supposed to. He's got a touch on it. He for a rookie quarterback to be playing in those kind of conditions, you can't complain about what he did. If we take Mitch Trubisky in the Cleveland Brown uniform, we start over. We start having to coach him up to that level that Cody Kessler is already at, that Brock Osweiler is already at. This is nothing against Mitch Trubisky. This is about the Cleveland Browns. Mitch Trubisky is not going to be the savior of the Cleveland Browns. No one player is going to be the savior of the Cleveland Browns. The Cleveland Browns have to build that team from the ground up. They've got pieces in place, but there's so many other issues with that team that have to be addressed that this quarterback is not going to be the answer to the prayers. If they trade up and take him, then he is going to in my opinion, join the long list of other busts that we've had, that we've drafted in the first round as the savior quarterback of the Cleveland Browns. You can take a good quarterback and put them behind a great offensive line, and they look all pro. You can take a crappy quarterback and put them behind an awful offensive line, and they look terrible. Look at Andrew Luck. Look at all the quarterbacks around the NFL that get the crap beat out of them because the offensive line is no good. Cleveland has a good offensive line now. They signed 2 free agents, really going to solidify that offensive line. Why not see what Kessler can do? You've got 2 guys there with more experience than Trubisky has. They're both young. Take advantage of that. Who knows? We might actually win more than 1 game next year. Folks, that's my thoughts. That's my opinions. That's the Just Man saying what he thinks and what he feels about the Cleveland Browns. Tell me what you think. You agree with me? Do you think Mitch Trubisky is going to be the answer to the prayers in Cleveland? Do you think that he is going to be the savior of the Cleveland Browns? If I'm wrong, if you think I'm wrong, tell me why. We're going to know tomorrow. Tomorrow is the draft. And we will see what happens with Mitch Trubisky and the Cleveland Browns. Do they stand with what they have and try to improve on the rest of the players that they have, the rest of the positions, the rest of the needs they have, or do they roll the dice once again with an unproven player to see if he's going to be the savior of Cleveland? Tell me what you think. Do you agree, disagree, thoughts, opinions? That's all this is for me. But either way it goes, folks, I hope you have a great day. and I'll talk to you later.